Today, we are here to say, shipmate, the watch stands relieved. Relieved by those you have trained, guided, and led. Shipmate, you stand relieved. We have the watch. The watch. The watch.
Non-stop rock talk with Tyson Bryden. Welcome to Non-stop rock talk. I am your host, Tyson Bryden. Today, I'm very happy to welcome from the band Cyanide, vocalist and songwriter Rob Hussey. Welcome, Rob. How is it going?
It is a rockin' Friday morning here in Las Vegas.
In Vegas. That's where you are, is Vegas, eh?
Yes.
And I'm sure it's very hot.
Oh, God. I mean, it's usually just a really dry hot, and that's fine. But today we're combining the humidity and the overbearing heat. And so nobody wants to be outside today. Oh,
no doubt. I mean, I'm up, as I told you, I'm up in Canada, and it has been extremely hot here this summer. Like we had a dry spell of 2 weeks with no rain. It was like all the grass is dead, and so I can't imagine how hot it is in Vegas.
It's funny. It's really not too bad when it's not humid. I mean, sure, you don't want to be directly in the sun for too long, but when it's humid too, and it's like 115, it's just, it sucks.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, enough about the weather. As we begin, possibly you can give me a little bit of your background into your musical journey. What kind of brought you to, I guess, to doing Cyanide?
Well, I started on the drums when I was 7. My aunt bought me a cool little drum set, and I had just discovered Kiss, and so Kiss took over my life when I was about 6. And then I got the drum set. I played drums most of my life. All through growing up, I played drums. I didn't start singing in a band until I was 40. Oh. And along the way, as a drummer, I would write some songs here and there. But as we all know, when the drummer says, "Hey guys, I wrote some songs," dead silence. Nobody wants the drummer's song. So over the years, I had all these song ideas and songs that I thought were pretty great. And it wasn't until 2010 when I met Mark Mersal, the original Cyanide guitar player. And he had some songs and I had some songs. And so from that, we started recording an album just for our entertainment. We weren't going to put the band together or release it or anything. But once we had about 6 songs, we just kind of both said, this is really good. We should do something with this. So we finished the album, and there was 11 songs, and then we put a band together. And the next thing we knew, we were opening for Skid Row and Stephen Pearcy and Steel Panther and Doro Pesh and all these bands. And it was just a great ride supporting that first record. And then eventually, as bands often do, we drifted and, lost a guy here, lost a guy there. But it wasn't until Mark left the band in 2019 when I thought at first that it was over. I'm not going to find another songwriting partner that I gel with the way I did with Mark, and so it's all over. He was the engineer. He had the studio. I didn't know anything about that stuff. So I spent about a year moping around, being sad that the band was over, being depressed, and then one day I just sold all my gear and got new gear and decided I was going to learn how to use Pro Tools, and I was going to make my own record. And once again, I wasn't going to put another band together. I was just going to make the record and release it and be happy with that. And once again, when I got about halfway done with it, because I decided to do it alone.
Yeah.
So I'm playing bass, drums, rhythm, guitar, writing all the songs, doing everything. And just for myself, I sat down and thought, one thing that I loved about all my favorite bands like Motley Crue and Kiss is at some point they all made this really heavy record that everybody kind of wasn't sure what to deal with at the time.
Yeah.
And then later it becomes like this cult classic. And so I wanted to make a record like that. I'm thinking Creatures of the Night, the Motley Crue album. I was also thinking about Dr. Feelgood and the Black Album as far as what I want the audio quality to sound like. And so I just kind of started writing in that vein. I redesigned my studio to look like my bedroom when I was 15, so that when I went in there to write songs, I felt like I was 15, and I wrote songs like I was 15.
Yeah.
And that's why this album sounds familiar, this new 21 Gun Salute album. You put it on and you're like, this just feels like home. Like it's like, this is what I grew up listening to. Right. Only these songs are new.
Yeah.
And that was kind of my whole idea behind the 21 Gun Salute album.
Well, I mean, the title track, 21 Gun Salute, when that was sent to me, I couldn't stop listening to it. I'm going to be honest.
Really?
Yeah, it is such a good song. Like everything you just mentioned, everything you're talking about is how I grew up. So Creatures of the Night, I've admitted this on my show before. I own 7 vinyl copies of Creatures of the Night because
we're best friends.
Yeah, right. So, and the Motley '94 album is one of my favorite Crue albums. I mean, I do love
Sure.
the Vince stuff. I'm not going to say I don't, because I do. But that sonically, and what Motley evolved into on that album is, I don't think they could ever top that, as far as I'm concerned, because they haven't once Vince came back, right? So everything and the Black Album as well, because the Black Album is production-wise and feel good. During that period of Bob Rock's career, he could do no wrong. So everything you've related to is exactly, we're on the same page.
Yeah, and this is what I've been missing about, I love that I love that Motley Crue put out Saints of Los Angeles. I love Kiss, Sonic Boom. I love that they keep making music, and I'm always going to buy their new music and support it. But at some point, I started to wonder, although Sonic Boom does sound like an old Kiss record, so that's not a good example. But remember what happened the first time you heard Dr. Feelgood and you heard that snare drum sound, and you're like, what on earth is that?
Yeah.
And so I kind of got off subject there, but
no, that's okay.
Remember when Saints of Los Angeles was getting ready to come out, and Nicky kind of said, yeah, this is like a throwback to Shout at the Devil. But then when you get the record, while it's a really great record, it really doesn't sound anything like Shout at the Devil. Yeah. I mean, and so I started thinking, what I'm missing about music is I want some of those records that were coming out in, from 83 to 91 or 94 or so. Like, so many of those great records came out, and nobody's making records like that anymore. And so that is exactly what I wanted to do for people like me and you. Yeah. Because at first I was just making it for me. I wasn't going to do anything with it. I just wanted to make a record that if I heard it when I was 14, I would be forced to jump on my bike and ride to the record store and buy that vinyl. That's what I was shooting for.
And you know what? It's funny because I remember the '94 album and going to the record store that morning, which release day used to be a Tuesday, and going on Tuesday morning. Now it's Fridays, I believe. The whole demographics changed. So, but I remember going to the store and with my buddies and being like, oh man, I can't wait to get this. I can't wait to put it in my CD. It was a CD in my CD player. And I was not disappointed. As soon as Power to the Music came on, it was like, what the fuck is this? This is incredible. It was like, wow. And then, but the disappointing thing was that a lot of people didn't get it. And I'm like, why are you not getting this? Like, this is Motley Crue. I know it's not Vince Neil, but like, listen to this. Like, this is amazing. Mm-hmm. Right? So I understand where you're coming from. And I do have to make a note because we're only on audio, but I'm just looking at your Cyanide shirt that you're wearing that looks amazing, and it's got a what would you call that? A cannon on it.
Yeah.
Right. And it says Cyanide. There we go. Yeah, that 21 gun salute. And what I love is the two little notations on the top of the Y. Which,
yeah, of course, I had to, man.
Right.
I didn't even question it. I thought of it, and I remember, reading all the stories about how, Motley Crue had a Lowenbrow bottle, and they just said, oh, yeah, we'll sprinkle those on there. And in the movie, when they're kind of just reenacting that, and when I looked at my logo, I thought, yeah, I think I'm going to sprinkle some umlauts on there, I'm always trying to pay tribute to my heroes, the bands that made the music that inspired me to be what I am today.
Yeah, I know. And I mean, it was cool that they even mentioned it in the movie, that it's in the movie with the dots when they're trying to come up with the name. And good thing they didn't name it Christmas, because
they wouldn't have made it,
No.
It just wouldn't have worked.
No, that's cool. So I'm loving what you're going with. And as for the song, 21 Gun Salute, did you do everything yourself on that?
The guitar, I did everything except the guitar solos. I cannot play guitar solos. I'm good enough at rhythm guitar to write these songs, play the rhythm tracks. The original producer, Jason Constantine, he later left the project before it was finished, and that's how I hooked up with Ty Sims. But early on, Jason was also playing some rhythm guitars, and so his rhythm guitar is on that track. And then a gentleman in town here named Keith Robert, who has played in Dee Snider's solo band. He's played in Jet Boy, Wild Street. Cool. And he's such a great guitar player, and he really conjures the spirit and attitude of like a 25-year-old Ace Frehley,
That's cool.
He's a good friend of mine, first of all, and so of course I wanted him on the record. I wanted him in the band, actually, but he's a busy guy, too. So I was happy that he came down. He did 3 solos on the record, Keith Robert did. Yeah. And 21 Gun was the first one. And, man, when he came in the studio and started ripping that lead out of thin air, I literally, because he kind of looks like Ace, too, he's got that vibe.
Cool.
And so I remember just sitting there watching him lay this solo down and thinking, It's like I'm watching 25-year-old Ace Frehley just ripping it in the studio, and I just felt so privileged to have him at that moment and hearing what was coming out of the speakers. Man, did he not rip that solo?
Oh, it's amazing. I mean, all the guitar work on it sounds incredible. I mean, that song it's like that song you've been waiting for like 20 years. I have to be honest. Like, for someone to come out with a song like, you're like, yeah, this captures the essence of what the era was, of what I grew up listening to. And you talk about bands putting out new records, and I usually end up disappointed, because I'm like, they're still putting out music, but it's like talking about Saints of Los Angeles, the album. The song was great, and I loved the first 3 or 4 songs, and then I found after that, they went to a modern sound. It was like, get people's attention, and then we're going to go and do this sound now, which I wish the whole album had kind of been like the opening material. where down at the whiskey.
Yeah.
Where it was a little bit sleazier, kind of like Girls, Girls, Girls and Dr. Feelgood, and it had that. But then all of a sudden, The Animal and Me and whatever, I can't even remember the tracks because, I mean, they're good, but they're not what those first few tracks were to me. That album disappointed me a little bit because I was expecting.
Really?
Well, it only disappointed me because those first few tracks were great, and I wanted that theme to keep going, and then it kind of switched to this more newer sound of Motley, right?
The production was very modern. And, you know, I do love that song, Just Another Psycho. Like, that's a cool song.
It is a cool song. And don't get me wrong, that album is far above a lot of other stuff that was coming out in 2008. So, I mean, I was excited about it. It was just, for me, I just wish they had just one more time do a whole album like it did, like Girls, Girls, Girls or something like that. You know what I mean? And
I'm with you on that. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, no, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. No, I'm with you on that because even though I love the record, you know, it's like I was talking about earlier. I still wish, you know, when they say, hey, we're working on something and it's going to really bring back the vibe of Shout at the Devil, I really wish that would happen, you know. And, you know, so many bands will say that, you know, like, this sounds just like our classic stuff. And it comes out and it's really good. But it does not sound like your classic stuff. Like AC/DC is a band that always puts out something that sounds like their classic stuff, right?
Yeah.
And so that's what I'm expecting when you say that. And so, again, that's kind of what inspired me to do this record is like, okay, well, I love what those bands are doing, but I'm going to do what I wish they would do.
Yeah.
And I think that if any fan of that music actually heard this album, they'd probably feel the same way. And I made that album just for, you know, people like us that do feel that way about this music. Because this music is my life, you know.
Yeah, and I'm the exact same. I mean, that is my go-to thing, you know, like... I mean, when I go to work on my full-time job at 6 o'clock in the morning, I'm usually cranking that music because as soon as I wake up to the time I go to bed, that's what drives me. There's something about that it makes me feel good, right? That's how I want to feel from the moment I wake up to the moment I go to bed. So I do give you like amazing kudos for the fact of this song, and I'm very excited to hear the whole record now.
Oh yeah, I will. I'll send it to you so you can give it a listen. It's not going to come out on the streaming sites until October 17th.
Okay.
Because we're going to launch a full scale promotional assault right up until the day it drops. It was going to come out on streaming on September 1st, and that's when I learned that we really just didn't get it properly, because I only get one chance to do this. And while the CD has been out since May on Kibble Records, you can buy the album on Kibble Records right now.
Yeah.
And it's done very well. We've sold a lot of those CDs, but there's only so many people that still buy those. And so the rest of the world, as far as they're concerned, the album's not even out. And so, I couldn't wait, for September 1st. And then I realized I'm going to have to push it back so I can do this right, because I want to make sure, who if you're going to get to ever make another record again. You never know.
That's true. Right?
What's going to happen in life. So I wanted... And I feel so strongly about this album and these songs that I live with myself if I don't do everything possible to make sure every Motley Crue fan, every Kiss fan, every Iron Maiden fan, and all those kinds of bands that are the legacy bands, like those are who I'm tipping my hat to when I'm making this record. And I want every fan of those bands to at least become aware of this, because I think if they did, they'd love the record.
Yeah,
because I'm one of those guys.
Exactly. And you did send me Lethal Dose, that was the previous album, I would believe, right?
Yes.
And I wanted to ask
Yeah,
you,
that's the first record.
and it's phenomenal as well. I dug it. I listened to most of it, and I had to ask you this about a few of the songs because I did have questions about them, and I know we're promoting the other album. And before,
No, that's fine.
but before I ask you that, we should tell our listeners where they can find the CD actually before it even goes to streaming if they're interested.
If you go to kivelrecords.com/store, it'll take you right to their online store, and 21 Gun Salute is right there for sale on the front page of the store, right next to the Babylon AD album that just came out.
Yes.
Because Babylon AD just signed with Kivel Records, and so, kudos to them for coming to this label, and so many people showed up to buy their new album on the day it was went live for pre-orders that we sold a bunch of more copies of 21 Gun Salute. So but yeah, that's where, and it's also available on the Eonian Records website, EONIAN records.com. You can get it there as well. And that's other than that, the only place you can get the CD is if you come to a Cyanide show in Las Vegas.
That's right. And get that awesome T-shirt that you're wearing too.
Yes. We have lots of shirts. We've got buttons. We've got stickers. We've got patches. And we got more stuff on the way. So
that's awesome. That's the important stuff, right? That merchandising stuff that we grew up listening to. I mean, that we saw. Remember, like, pins and back patches and, like jean jackets full of, that was the norm back then, right?
And Kivel Records did a really good job pushing this album out. When it went on pre-sale, all the people that pre-ordered it, they got a sticker, a button, one of those cool, like, big postcards of the album cover, and then it all came in a poly wrap bag that had the album cover on it and a picture of the band on the other side. And they definitely gave the people their value for buying the CD, and I dug that. Right. So I do that too. If you come to a show and you buy the CD, especially if you buy both of them, you save $5, and then you also get the free patch or the free button and the free sticker. So yeah, I like giving stuff away when people are willing to buy your record, because man, that's really where it's at, right? I wish everybody still bought the record.
I know.
I still do. I sometimes will, whether I stream it or not, I'm still going to buy the CD, and then if I really love the record, I'm going to also buy the vinyl. So,
and I'm I usually now I'm to the point where I get the vinyl, and then if there's no vinyl, then I'll buy the CD. I've kind of moved towards all vinyl now, and I just sold a ton of my CD collection, like a ton, like probably 1,000 CDs. I just sold them all. Yeah, and it was.
I wish I would have been there. I would have probably bought some of them.
You probably would have. I mean, I kept what I don't have on vinyl and stuff that was like Japan things that I've had, like Slaughter albums from Japan, and just a lot of like cool stuff that I've kept. And I have a ton of Bon Jovi singles because I play in a Bon Jovi tribute band, and there was a time when we were learning all the songs and doing the live show, and I would buy all these these B-side CDs with live tracks to hear different versions, to see how they did it live, and see if like you want to pick up things, right?
I'm the same way. It's so funny. We're like the same dude.
That's awesome. I mean, I'm CDs too. It's like, where do I keep all these now? Because I moved, and so I did get rid of them, but I've got about 1,000 albums now. So it's like, I'm just like a crazy music guy. I just love buying.
I practically gave my vinyl collection away back in '90 when CDs came out, like an idiot. And I had all my 70s Kiss stuff.
Oh, man.
My CDs, my cassettes. I took it all to a used record store and traded it in for CDs. Massively got ripped off. And so now, of course, I regret that decision every day. And then in the last couple of years, I started building a small, modest vinyl collection. I was very pleased to learn that when you buy the old Kiss albums on vinyl, it still comes with the tattoos,
I know,
the booklets, the posters. Yeah. Thank you, God, for doing that.
I mean, I guess it's probably Gene, right? Because Gene's like, we got to keep this thing.
Whoever's idea it was, man, I would love to thank them, because I love having that Dynasty poster and that Unmasked poster and the solo album posters again.
I know, right? I've got all those too. And you know what? I bought Alice Cooper Schools Out, the reissue, and they put the panties in it too, which was... It was like, wow, man, this is...
Well, now I'm going to have to go buy that thing.
It was pricey, because I think there's 3 or 4 albums in it. So it's got a bunch of live stuff from the tour, as well as the album, which is...
Wow.
Yeah, it's a cool package. When they do that. And the desk opens up like it always did, and the panties are inside of it, and then it's got more of a story inside of it about everything that was going on. I mean, all that, I love reading that stuff too, right? So
me too.
So it was definitely worth the money that I paid for it. I love when bands do packaging like that and keep the integrity of the original.
What really blew my mind is when I got the Creatures of the Night box set, got a smoking deal on it, and I was just so excited when I opened it and looking at all the stuff in there. And it includes this thing called a Blu Ray audio disc.
Oh yeah.
And so it's the record on a Blu Ray audio disc. And when you put it in your Blu Ray player, there's graphics on your TV that are cool. And then there's like 5 different mixes of the album, whether you want to hear it in Dolby Atmos or if you want to hear it, all the different ways that you could listen to an album. And so I just could not believe the sound quality of those Blu Ray audio CDs or discs. And so then there's also one in the Destroyer box set. And I know Def Leppard has one in their Pyromania box set, which I have not acquired yet. But man, you want to talk about the best sounding experience ever of listening to Creatures of the Night was on, it's in a pretty decent sound system too. Yeah. But the quality of that Blu-ray audio disc coming through your sound system was just something I had never experienced before. And I thought, this is what could save CDs. Everybody should start releasing these Blu-ray audio discs, because people like us will go nuts over this stuff. It sounds so good. So if you ever get a chance to acquire that box set, I highly recommend it, just for that Blu-ray disc.
I didn't know that was in there, because I bought the extended vinyl with the bonus tracks on it. The color.
I'm jealous now.
But they screwed up the color. The color didn't come as it was advertised. The pressing plant screwed it up. So it was supposed to be a lighter blue or something like that, and then it came and it was just like a translucent blue. But you know what? It was still cool. There's songs that ended up on Lick It Up that were on the Creatures demos, which was cool. So
those are all cool to hear.
And with what you're saying about the Blu-ray thing, and I'm not sure if these were now the first one, the Guns N' Roses box set. I don't know if it was a Blu-ray or a DVD, but it was in 5.1, and to hear Appetite for Destruction in 5.1 was incredible. It was kind of the same type of thing. It sounded unreal. And I have that.
I will have to get my hands on that.
Yeah, it was. And you know what? I went to the record store near me, and somebody had stolen pieces of the box set. Someone had broken into it and took stuff out of it. So I just ended up with the music material that was in it. They sold it at the record store for like $200 because the thing was like $800 or something like that. So I took it home, and it had it's got all this. There's some really cool stuff in it. Photos from back in '87, and because when they looked pretty cool in '87. So. Anyways, this thing was awesome. And then years ago, I got Slippery When Wet on, it was a double package. It had the CD, but then it had DVD audio of Slippery When Wet. And the cool thing about it is they left the mix as it was on Living on a Prayer, and instead of fading it out, it actually goes back to the talk box, to the main riff.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and then there's a few other things. There's a little bit of a musical interlude before Never Say Goodbye, and then something else on Raise Your Hands. Like, there's a bunch of little things in there that are super cool. I mean, Never Say Goodbye is one of the best rock ballads ever. I still can't believe that song was not an enormous hit, but I guess I had enough hits on the record. So. I know, and I mean, there's a video the video's on there too for Never Say Goodbye too, which was I don't remember ever seeing it back in the day. I only remember
I didn't see it on MTV back in the day.
No.
It's kind of strange, right?
And Never Say Goodbye is usually our encore song because people love. They love that song, even though it wasn't a single, and it goes over so well. Like, it's crazy to think that sometimes a song that's not a single, like, I think of, like, Motley doing 10 Seconds to Love in the show, and they always do it because people love that song, and it was never a single. Those type of songs that bands do that become hits that aren't hits, I guess, with the fan base, right?
I actually sing for a Motley Crue tribute, a Poison tribute, and an Iron Maiden tribute here in Vegas.
Oh, gee.
And at our most recent Motley Crue tribute show, our band's called Red Hot. We played Danger off the Shout at the Devil record, which Motley has never played before. And I could not believe how crazy people over that song. And it's the same thing when we played Come On and Dance and Starry Eyes, and we did Use It or Lose It at the last show too. We always like to throw in something people don't ever get to hear, and I love the way people react when they're true Motley Crue fans and they hear those songs. They're like, yeah, those, I mean, I remember Danger when Shout at the Devil, and like the first time I heard Shout, I was like 10 years old in '84. So I always loved Danger. I was always like, this is such a cool song. And, I mean, there's songs later in their career, like, I mean, when Vince was still there, like, I would love to hear, what's the one from Ford Fairlane? Rock and Roll Junkie.
Yes. I want to hear Nikki rock that bass line in the beginning, like...
It's one of the sexiest bass lines ever.
Yes, and that was, I mean, for me, that was one of the disappointing things for me was when Vince left, was like, I felt like I loved the 94 album because it was amazing, but in another way, I feel like Motley was going in this different direction when you think of Primal Scream and Rock and Roll Junkie and Teaser too, which was a cover, but it had that cool bass line.
Love that one, yeah.
And I'm like, is that the direction they're going in with, more bass and drums and like it's a really cool sound for them and it works really well. But we never got that because it's one of those imagine if Vince never left conversations, right?
In a strange way, this 21 Gun Salute album, because I always, I love John Corabi, and I've got to jam with him several times, and I even was lucky enough to sing Smoke the Sky with him when he went out did that tour playing that album in full. We got to open for him, and so he let me sing Smoke the Sky with him, and that's my favorite Motley Crue song. And so, that was exciting, but man, I really do think, as much as I love that record, there's no like radio hits on there for people to latch on to, with that big hook. And I think they did that on purpose, but, it's just another one of those things.
Yeah, because I heard a story that Nicky kept 10,000 Miles off the album on purpose because it was a hit. He thought it was a hit, and he didn't want to put it on there. And it's an amazing song.
I remember reading the interview in Metal Edge when that record was coming out, and he mentioned that song and said, "But we're not going to put it on the album because the last thing we want right now is a #1 single." And I was like, really? You don't want that, huh? And that made me really curious. Now, what does this album really sound like, you know? But yeah, I'm with you on the Rock and Roll Junkie is such a great song. I'm glad you mentioned it because we're gonna have to throw that one in there at some point too.
Cool, man. And you got to message me and let me know if you do it, and then hopefully there's a video and I'll have to watch it because I would love that. That's so. I've
got a pro shot video of our last show where we did like a 2-hour show. It was sold out at Counts Vamped. It was just a really great night, great crowd, and I'll send that video to you so you can check it out. Oh, but what I was getting at, I got off track there, but when I was making 21 Gun Salute, I thought to myself, as much as I love Karabi and everything, I still have always wondered what that record would have sounded like if Vince was on it, right? And so one of my goals with this new Cyanide record, because a lot of people tell me I sound like Vince at times, and I thought, there's some glam on this record for sure, because the first record's all glam. You know, the first record is a Sunset Strip party record. This new record is like half Sunset Strip party record, half heavy metal record like Judas Priest, Iron Maiden, Metallica type vibe, and then 2 ballads, right? And my goal was make a record that kind of captures that musical journey of the Karabi album, but if Vince was singing. You know, what would that sound like? I wanted to know what that would sound like. And so a lot of times you'll hear on some of these songs, you'll be like, well, damn, that sounds like Vince Neil just was singing for a second. And, you know, I did that on purpose because I wanted to hear that sound.
That's awesome. Like I said, I'm excited to hear it. I know you have to go. I just wanted to ask you on the first album, Nikki Sixx in Disguise.
That song was an accident. We were hanging out at the Hard Rock Hotel in 2007, waiting for a box office to open so we could buy concert tickets, right? So, of course, we're sitting in the bar drinking. It's like 10 o'clock in the morning. We got 2 hours to kill. So we ended up having a really good time there. And at some point, I yelled out loud that I'm Nikki Sixx in disguise. And then someone heard me and said, no, I'm Nikki Sixx in disguise. And then the next thing I know, there's like 10 people saying, I'm Nikki Sixx in disguise. And then finally someone says, will you guys shut up about Nikki Sixx? and, you know, I just was laughing my head off over this. But then Nikki Sixx in Disguise just kind of kept ringing in my head. And so I thought, well, I'm going to write that song. And the chorus kind of just wrote itself in my head right there. And then later on, I went home and came up with the other parts. But the funny thing about Nikki Sixx in Disguise is that when the first Cyanide album came out, it had been on streaming sites for about 4 years and nobody was listening to it. I wasn't promoting it. And then The Dirt came out. In 2019, The Dirt came out, and I remember waking up one morning and I got an email from Spotify and it said, you had 3,000 listeners yesterday. I thought, well, this must be a mistake. I haven't had 3,000 listeners in 4 years. That's got to be a mistake. So I go to my page, and it's like Nikki Sixx in Disguise, and it played like 2,000 times the day before, and I just thought, whoa. And then it just kept doing that and doing that. It recommended to enough people that it just started getting played like a ton of times. So thank you to The Dirt for coming out and resurrecting Motley Crue's popularity and giving me a hit song.
That's amazing. That's a great story. Yeah.
It's crazy, man. I still to this day, I remember that thinking, this is a mistake. There's no way people are listening to my music. But
well, they were, and it's a great song, and I love all the references. I mean, there's a reference to pretty well the first 5 albums.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And
if you listen closely to that tune, musically, it was inspired by Hammered off the Karabi album.
Yeah.
But again, I had that music laying around and I really liked it. And, you know, I just thought, well, it kind of reminds me of Hammered, but what if I do Hammered with what it would sound like Vince Neil singing it, you know?
Awesome.
And that was my inspiration for that song, was Hammered meets Vince Neil.
Cool. Well, Rob, it's been a pleasure. It was great talking to you.
Absolutely.
And I mean, we found out that we have a lot in common, which is great musically, and the things we like musically. But you know what? Let's let my people at home know where to find the album one more time, because I really think people need to go and check this out that are fans of my show and fans of the era.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And I would absolutely love it if people wanted to go check out the CD and buy it. So I have an official Cyanide website called cyaniderocks.com. And on that website there's a Cyanide section, there's a Red Hot Motley Crue tribute section, Flight 666 Iron Maiden tribute section, and a Play Dirty Poison section. So all the tribute bands are on one website with Cyanide, and all the links to our streaming pages and our social media sites are on there. Everything's in one place. You can listen to the new single right there on our website. And then all the links to go buy the record at Kibble Records and Aeonian Records are right there on the front page of the Cyanide section.
Perfect.
CyanideRocks.com.
Awesome. Good. Okay. Well, hopefully we will get to talk again, and we'll stay in touch.
Absolutely.
Okay, man.
We should do this regularly. We'll have a beer next time.
If you want to. Yeah, absolutely, man. Well,
Yeah.
you know what? I'll message you, and I would love to have you come on again. We can talk rock. It's nonstop rock talk, so we can do that.
Yeah, I'm the kind of guy, I could sit there and talk about all my favorite bands all day long. I don't have to be talking about Cyanide to want to do this. That's my idea of a good time, is talking about this music that I love so much.
I agree. I'm with you on that. Well, we'll stay in touch, and I will talk to you soon then.
All right. You have a great rest of your day.
Yeah, you too, Rob. Take care, man. Talk again. Okay. Cheers.